all to distract us from the Free Larry Hoover movement of the indigenous people of the land and restore the tribes back to their prominence. Right? So that's where we at as a people, and this is what we have to do. The easiest way to get us free is for us all to say the same thing at the same time in agreement. The more of us do it, the faster it happens.
Mm.
Most of us aren't educated to the matter. So then you share the information, you study the information and check it out, validate it for yourself, and then you explain it because you can only explain it from your level of understanding.
Mm.
My level just happened to be a little different because I had a lot more study time.
Mm. Hey, brother Rod Hayes, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You lit it up. You lit
I
it up
appreciate you
tonight.
having me, man.
Yeah, man, you lit it up tonight. Wow. I mean, the people are thoroughly appreciative for what you brought to the table tonight, my brother.
It was
Uh,
a sister I seen on here a couple days ago
mm.
talking about Big Mama.
Sister Myra. That's Sister Myra.
Right, send her a shout out for me.
Okay, yeah, I would tell her. I would tell her. What you thought about that show? You liked it?
Oh yeah, she's talking about Big Mama. I know
Yeah,
what she's talking about. We
yeah.
speak the same language. I
Same language.
understand what she's telling me.
I'm gonna continue that narrative for forever and from now on. Big Mama. I'm gonna continue that Big Mama cosmic energy. This is my job to continue to carry on that narrative of Big Mama. So yeah, anybody talking about Big Mama, they welcome to my show as long as it comes from a pure intent. So I want to
Hmm.
thank you. I want to thank Sister Myra. Any contact information you want to leave the people with before you get out of here, my brother? Because yeah.
The easiest way to find me right now is on Instagram. I got two pages. One I post Rod Hayes,
Mhm.
and they won't let me do lives on that one, so I have to do my lives on.
Buddy. Yo, no, I'm just joking. Shout out to everybody in chat. Hey, listen, Rod Hayes. First of all, welcome back, my brother. Welcome back. Oh, right. You on mute. You on mute. There you
Thank,
go. Yeah,
yeah, I was saying thank you for having me back.
indeed.
I caught a taste of you on I think it was Telegram earlier.
Oh, Clubhouse. Clubhouse.
Clubhouse, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I was with Lisa.
yeah,
I was with
yeah.
Lisa. Yeah. Okay. Oh, so you
She
you heard the
tried to
interview?
she tried to put me on to speak, but I wanted to listen to you.
Okay. Dope, 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 man. Okay. What you thought about the interview, man?
Yeah, I knew you had it. I knew you had that erudition, that study behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
And the description you gave was familiar to me because it reminded me of my studies
Mm,
and people saying I don't know what I'm talking about. And I literally got about 25 totes full of books downstairs from my
mm.
library to be transported. And I
Oh,
ain't even done packing them up.
damn. Wow. Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you got an opportunity to hear the interview. Shout out to Lisa. I think the name of her channel on Clubhouse is Matrix Unveiled. But I just did an interview. She actually interviewed me, family. So I did an interview with the Queen on her Clubhouse. So shout out to everybody who listened for that. But right now, listen, family, there's so much going down. Ryan, let me ask you before we get started. Let me see if I can pull this up while I'm talking to you about it. There's so much talk in the science community and the quantum physics community about this James Webb telescope that they are saying is getting images that they have never gotten before and that people have been waiting for a lifetime. So I don't have you heard about this James Webb telescope? You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't had a chance to look into that.
Okay,
But
okay.
I'll look into it and then I'll get back with you on it so
Mm,
I can be up to speed on what it's talking about. But if you think about it, when they launched the Hubble telescope and
mm,
it was sending pictures back, it was pictures that they had never seen before
mm,
from deeper in space that is closer to the sources of light that it's taking pictures of,
mm, mm,
right?
mm,
So it was the same thing with the Hubble. And before that, it was a ground telescope in the Vatican called the Lucifer lens,
mm, mm.
right? Now, earlier you mentioned the name of Lisa channel, the Matrix Unveiled, ties
Mm,
right into what you told me you wanted to discuss tonight, this holographic universe.
mhm,
and the infiltration of the training universe and being corrupted by adverse forces.
Indeed, because I thought this was Big Mama's plan. I thought Big Mama said, I'm going to create a universe so I could discover more of myself because I am the all that is. So, in order for me to discover who I am, I'm going to create this universe. And through this universe, I could discover who I am. And it seemed like things went left or something like that. So, got to talk to
Well,
you about that.
if you really look at it, the reference is all things come together for the
Rod, that
greater
sound,
good.
you got to come in and out. That sound when you
Sound now?
sound better.
Okay, where was we at?
I was asking you about the Big Mama and her plan and how it went
Oh
left.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was telling you that the quote is all things come together for the greater good. So whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, some kind of way we got to salvage the uselessness from it and use it as part of putting together the grand plan. In the secret societies, the grand plan is called the Great Arcana or the Great Work. And the great work is to teach man how to become what we call the perfected man. This is the Leonardo da Vinci painting of the universal man, right? The painting is symbolic of the mirror images of the ego to the soul. So the ego is the self that the society create for you as a autopilot version in case you don't use your free will, you'll be on autopilot
Right.
like an extra in the video game.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to follow what's called a predestined path.
I have on red. So we're getting ready to get into the year of the on the Chinese zodiac. And this is the year of nine. So I'm gonna tell you why this is a double conundrum, why this is a very big deal, right? Because nine is the number of endings, and endings they are new beginnings. That's number one. Number two, this is the year of serpent. Serpent sheds its skin, it sheds what no longer serves us. Right? So this is gonna be the year that whatever don't serve you, it's got to go, it's got to be removed. And by choice or by force. And red and green and gold is about money and wealth and luck and prosperity. So on January 29th, when the Chinese have their new year, right? Because there are multiple new years. We have the one, the fake one, right, that they just gave us. We have the Chinese one, which is January 29th. We have the spring equinox, which is March 21st. And then on March 29th is when we have the lunar. That's according to the Vedic astrology of the Vedas. So if you ain't got your notepads out tonight, you better get them out because I'm going to be dropping dates. I'm going to drop times. I'm going to drop a lot of stuff that's very important for us. You sent another one. Oh, you sent it to the other. Let me see. Others tear down, right? Because I had a couple people inbox me. That's another reason we kind of popped on this live. Is they was like, they didn't talk about it. So what does it mean about the parade? What does it mean? Obviously, when we say an alignment, right? Everything is straight. That means everything is flowing. And this is the biggest thing I need to let you all know. It's not just this one day, right? It's aligned, but this thing is going to be aligned from about January 25th to about February 28th. And then we're going to have another alignment. So on what we call the topical, because the topical side of astrology is the sun. The sun is the father. The sun is also I. And then on the lunar side, which is the feminine energy, which is the mother, we're going to get all into the feminine energy. Because if you ain't in tune with the feminine energy, and I mean as a masculine, right? Because we're a soul that chose a body. You're not going to be able to get your money, your coins, your love. You're not going to be able to go up to all your levels and your dimensions, right? So this January 25th means all of them. You're Saturn, which means the karma. Karma is different than Dharma. Dharma is what you came here to do, like what the work you did. Karma is what you gave in, you're going to get out, right? Okay. Then we know what Venus is. Venus is what we attract. It's not just the romantic love. Mars, which has been sitting in Leo, is the action planet, right? So that means this what propels us forward. And it had been going backwards, right? So that means, listen, if you it's time to go, it's go time. That's why if you notice, I'm not, whether you like Trump or not, and we're gonna discuss all that because he's a Gemini and Jupiter's a Gemini. And I tried to tell y'all about the whole Gemini thing, but don't nobody listen to me. That's why I know in astrology. That's why I was telling people like that man, when he won last time, it was Gemini was actually ascending. So if you actually know astrology, you're gonna know what the hell going on. But anyway, that's another thing. Um, Gemini is sitting in Jupiter. That's your money house. That's the thing. And you can actually go outside. And if you look up, you can see it. That's why they said some you're going to be able to see just when you look up, right? So we have the sun with the moon. We have Mercury. Mercury, your planet of communication. And it's not just communication, but it's all of the internet. And remember the age of Aquarius. Everybody's been talking about this whole age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius, they call it AI. I call it ancestor intercepted because I say that's when we came back and we was like, you know what? Thought y'all did that 5 million years ago. Oh, we coming back for our stuff, but we come back in this flesh and we ain't forgot, right? And I'm coming back for all my stuff. And we coming to write everything. So that is what the whole age of Aquarius is. So it's not just one day. A lot of people think it's one day. It's not just one day. If you think it's one day, you're gonna miss it, right? But see, the thing is I always say, just like she said, proper preparation prevents poor, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be prepared because I always say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So people are over here expecting for something to fall in their lap, and it's like, no. Like, if you notice, the whole doula program or whatever we're doing, like, all of that is falling into alignment. Even people who was with the government or whoever are having to get into alignment because we prepared for this in advance. So when it's the time of this golden age, and we are in the golden age, right? And it's been prophesied in the Sanskrit. I want y'all to write down the word Sanskrit, Sancrt. Learn this, Vedas, Vedas. This was prophesied that the golden age was going to come in the midst of an iron age. That means, like when Tupac said a rose is going to come in like out of the concrete, that's what we in. This is what we in, is that even in the midst of hell, we're going to have a new beginning. And the golden age is when everything is beautiful, everything is new. And then from the golden age, everything goes down. That's when you have your silver, and then you have your bronze, and then you have your whole Kali Yuga, which we just came out of, which was the iron age. But we're in the midst of the golden age, in the midst of it, of the whole transitional period.
Let me give them a little bit more insight. So the reason the last ice age was artificially induced. It's supposed to be solar cycle, lunar cycle, solar cycle, lunar cycle, and the four cycles of 6,000 years apiece, which gives you a total of 24,000 years, give or take a few years because of equinoctial precession. So what we're looking at, like you call Dharma. Dharma is the job of life that you're about to live. Karma is the cashier's window that's paying out what the work was that you performed. Many of us went stupid when we got here because part of this was you had to have amnesia. And the ones of us that some of us that went stupid, we got so selfish that we didn't do our spiritual work.
Yes.
Right. So now you see when karma come, you was on some nefarious stuff. She's gonna give you your nefarious reward.
That's right.
Right. And a couple of symbolisms people was asking me about. They didn't even ask me about the most important one, and that was when Barron Trump did this.
Yes.
That's a tactical military saying. It means
Come on, talk about it.
it mean okay, now you're listening with the right ear. That means it's about to be a powerful message coming in, but if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it. But he's telling you to listen. So where do we find this at? If you go to military tactical hand signs and look up the tactical hand sign for listen, right? And it's gonna show you this. Right. So if you're listening with the right ear, right, normally that's good news coming.
Right, yes.
The left ear is bad news coming.
Yes, that's why if you hear ringing in your left ear, they always say talk about something bad is coming. If you hear ringing in the right ear, that's positive.
Yeah, actually, that's your fatherland, motherland communication spirit realm.
Yeah.
When your fatherland come in and ring in your left ear, that's your protection. That's your bravado. That's your stand up and fight energy. Where your mother energy is your abstract, artistic self expression. That's your right ear ringing.
I know
when
that's
they ring together.
People taught us.
Yeah. So when they ringing together, right? That's your brain is in balance, and you're getting both of them giving you the same communication at the same time.
Right.
But it's the energy you're reading. Right. So the bad news come in the left ear because they trying to spoil the woman.
Yes.
Okay, so you got to pay attention to what else go with that, right? There's always something else, right? The Nazi salute is not a Nazi salute; it's a Roman salute.
Yes, that's okay. Let's talk about that because everyone said it was a Nazi salute. It's not a Nazi; it was a Roman. And then the second thing I want you to discuss is the picture, the difference between Trump's first picture and his, meaning the presidential picture, and the second one. So I want us to kind of discuss that too because those was messages and a lot of people have missed them. You gotta see them.
I didn't see the pictures.
You haven't seen the picture. Somebody, look, Google real quick while we're talking. Well, talk about the Roman, but if you can Google on your phone, Google Trump's presidential picture and look at his portrait, his official presidential portrait, because it's a message in there. So I want you to do that. While he's doing that, I'm gonna bring this up because what he said something about the whole motherline father line gave me a channel, which is on January 11th. We moved to what we switch nodes. So every 18 months, right? If you're in the west, we call it North Node, South Node. Vedic calls it the Rahu Ketu. Rahu is the area where we're going. It's higher, right? It's spirit realm. Ketu means where we're not going anymore, right? So we moved into the whole Pisces, Virgo. So all of the eclipses from this point forward, other than March 29th, which is the last one in Aries, is going to be moving for actually instead of 18 months for about 3 years in Virgo Pisces. Okay, I need everybody to pay attention to that. Virgo Pisces. This is why it's important because a lot of the illusions, they took the power of the illusionary and spiritual energy because Pisces is ruled by Neptune, right? This is how we manifest. And Virgo is not only the mother, but she's super analytical. And kind of like Chief will say, even if she's wrong, she's going to say she's right? And there's energy. And so they used these last parts of it to try to like siphon and put a lot of the castings of the spell on us, right? And in the midst of it, remember Mars, the golden age, is sitting in Leo. And Jupiter's getting ready to leave Gemini and go into Cancer. So you
went subtly. Right? And the pop eye is the right eye. The mama eye is the left eye. You got to go back to the Egyptian story to understand the meaning of the eye. Remember, Ra gave gave one of his eyes to Isis.
Yes.
And Isis gave an eye to Horus.
Yes.
Okay.
So hold on.
Okay, now.
Slow it down. Hold on. Slow it down. Let's slow it down because see, this is very important. Ra, say it one more time because y'all got to hear about the whole Ra, Isis, Aset, Horus. And why when you have, like he's saying, the one eye, because one is a protection, one is knowledge. When you have both, so I want you to break it down because they gotta understand this is a message. That's why I be like, if you get off of the whole, I don't like him, and you catch the knocks that's coming in. That's why we say we knocking. You can know. So slow it down on what we're because some people may not know the story. They should, but they may not know Chief. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Ra gave his daughter Isis the eye of protection. Remember, in Doctor Strange, he had the symbol that was the eye, but it actually rolls time back. Right? That's what it looked like. Okay, now you have two eyes in Kemet. You have the Uraeus, and then you have the Ujjit. One is the eye of Ra, the other is the eye of Horus. But it still traced back to the eye of Ra.
Yes, because they all go from,
Okay, now. The eye of Ra.
Can you tell them who Ra is? Break down who Ra is.
So that shows symbolic the great father.
Yes.
Who was overthrown by his brother in combat. And the son, Heru, is the prince who comes to redeem the crown. But everybody thinking he's coming to redeem it for the father, but he's really coming to make his mother legitimate on her seat. He's coming to enforce what's called the pharaonic right of rule.
And let me give you another knock of how this is so on time. Everybody always say about the whole Mason on. They always say to the east. First of all, the compass they gave y'all was completely wrong, right? We don't go north, south, east, west. Technically, it is to the east, west, south, and north. That's the true direction. That's number one. Number two, in the Chinese New Year, which is why I study all of it. This is the year of to the east. It's the year of the snake. It's the year of 9, and it's the year to the east. And 4 is not good for the west, which America is technically they call considered of the West, although we know it's not. But that's what they say. And this is the year that all of the good things are going to be returning to the East, and they also advise travel to the East. So, okay, I'm gonna let you go back. I just had to give them that whole East now.
Okay, so they did flip the map. South
Yep.
is up, north is down, east is left, west is right.
And on rituals,
Right.
that's why
On
they
the
work it.
ritual, you're supposed to face the east.
Yeah, you always supposed to face the East.
Unless
Exactly. You gotta go work
unless
it.
you coming from the Garvey school.
Well, I ain't from this.
Garvey was telling us that they was having you facing the wrong direction, telling you it was east. Because he
Or
had everybody facing the west.
which a lot of our grandparents did that when they came in and infiltrated them organizations so they come back and get the knowledge and help reverse some of the spin. So a lot of us, you be thinking your grandma or your grandpa was just in that stuff, but they was actually coming in and doing some reverse and like shutting down a lot of the stuff that was going on.
Well,
but okay, I'm gonna let you go back.
Remember, we couldn't get no dark faces in until Prince Hall came.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Once Prince Hall came, then we get to find out what they doing in secret that's keeping us loopy. We loopy. We walking around like drunk people when we sober.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get drunk, we be looking at the drunk people like they crazy. But to the spiritually in tune person, everybody look drunk. So he can't tell the alcoholic from the one that's drunk on ignorance. Only difference is one of them walk straighter. That's
It also
like
not
everything you drink don't give you the same drunk.
They don't, because you can make drink some clear some wine and you be fine, and then you get that old brown, and they say brown make you clean.
Mm-hmm. So Garvey was the first one to tell us to look. We look into they say look to the east, but he's pointing us west.
Right.
But everybody else is telling us that over there to Africa is east. That can only be east, right? That can only be east if north is up. But we know south is up because the Queen lands on the top.
Right.
Remember, Australia is called the Queen's Land.
Right.
Australia get the sun before everybody else.
They do. Right now they're in the summer. Right. They're hot right now. They're in the summer.
Upside down. Yeah, upside
and they're
down.
one of the homes of the oldest Stargates in Australia.
Mm-hmm. They could come. The same
and Australia
Stargate
houses one of our originals from the house.
Yeah. So if you go through the Australian Stargate, you can get to the Grand Canyon.
Yes, you can.
In Arizona. Or you can get to Cairo, Egypt.
Yes, you can.
Or you can get to Tibet. You can get to Alaska. We don't know about the Black Pyramid in Alaska. We think that's just some stuff they talk about in a fictional movie, but it's really a black pyramid. Really a black pyramid over there. It was a whole pyramid complex in Alaska. You got to remember, before we lost all of that material that makes up the what they call the iron bracelet, which is the meteor belt, right? Before we lost all that, Earth was like a third larger than it is now, or 2/3 larger actually.
Yeah, it was.
And the moon that they took, and they come with this. We was using the moon that's now assigned to Saturn called Lilith.
Lilith. That's what we call the black moon or the dark moon, and that's why you're supposed to work with that energy. But we had to learn how to even alchemize what it is that they're doing now, right? So that's what we call Lilith power, Empress.
Yeah. So the lunar energy. It took them. That women had to learn how to control that because it took they autonomous control the biofield, which turns off or turns on your cycle monthly.
And you shouldn't even really have to have a monthly, because the way the spirit gave it to me is you can shut down and like slow down your aging. I have not had a monthly cycle all the time since I was 26 years old, and I slowed down my aging process. So spirit showed me just like men have semen retention, women we used to control how we used to want to move around on this planet.
Yeah. And the moon is the tool that they use to block the ability of the woman to automatically control it.
Yep. But see, that time is up because, again, remember, January 11th, we just hit a very pivotal point. Virgo is in a big seat. March 13th. March 13th is the first Virgo eclipse. And it's going to keep moving and eclipsing. That's one of the biggest dates that we have coming. And then June 9th. June 9th is another big date because that's when we have what they call Jupiter, which is really Juno, right? Because they call it Jupiter, but it's really Juno, which is wisdom, growth, expansion, and is moving in Cancer. And this is going to be going on all the way through to about 2027, 2028. This energy is very, very strong. So the feminine energy is rising in the planet by whether people like it or not. So it's us learning how to control what we call our dark feminine energy and learning how to not let it control us.
Now remember, Earth was feminine, and all the Earth energies was feminine, including the Lilith moon. The Lilith moon is most powerful during the time that you don't see the lunar moon.
That's what we call the dark moon, which is what some people call the new moon. That's where you're actually emphasizing. Everybody likes to talk about the full moon, baby, it's that new moon that you could get, you put some work in.
So the Lilith moon is the most powerful moon. That's why they always try to downplay Lilith.
Yes.
When women start tuning into the Lilith moon, they get more self-control and spiritual control of their reality.
Yes.
They don't want that to happen. This is the origin of the black don't crack, because the women used to live for thousands of years, but they only used to have a menstrual cycle when they decide to have a child. They'd have 2 cleansing cycles where they build the uterus up, so there's 2 cycles, and when it comes time for the 3rd cycle, that's when she ovulates.
Spiritual,
she used to control that.
We're babies. Like if you're 50, you're literally like an infant. You're a baby, because what he's saying is true. We lived a long, long time. And the coded book of the Bible broke it down. Like if you read the coded book of the Bible, it was like, oh, you live 900 or whatever. Because remember, that book, it ain't nothing but a code. They give you a lot of the information, even in the lies of the code, because that's all it is. You just have to decode a lot of the scriptures. But Spirit was like, well, that's why I'm like, I ain't getting old. Like, really, that's why we in our culture, we say you're the first mother or the second mother or the third mother. We didn't say you're my children or granny or great, great, great. It was because we knew everyone coming in was mothers or you were fathers. We was the first mother, the second mother. And we already knew because we were here for a long time.
The word aunt comes from the word aunt. Because they said they called us ants as a derogatory. Because they say we hover around our big mama like a bunch of ants, termites or bees, right? So they was identifying our natural desire to support Big Mama and governing and caretaking of the land, right? So they called us ants. So my mother's sister, my father's sister became known as your auntie.
Right.
They trying to get everybody off the mother focus.
Yes.
Because when you get all of these mothers together, there's only going to be one Big Mama. The one Big Mama is the one who has the same signature alignment of genetics as the first mother of the earth.
That's right.
The soil of the earth contains the chemical mitochondria that tells you where all of the women come from. The 12 daughters of Isis, different parts of the planet, different regions that they governed over. It's not just one. Now, because of the way that it's structured, you have so many Big Mamas, but they go up in like stacks of decks of cards. Every mother got her household or her community hold, and then she connect with a mother with similar status in her community, and now them two communities start working together, or so on and so forth, until they all tied together. The real secret right now is the more sisters, Greek sisters in love, the faster this stuff moves. The slowing down of the time is done by the women refusing to work together.
And I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because when I went to Jekyll Island, right, I'm thinking I'm just going there on some money stuff and to loose to money, and I wouldn't even think I was about to go because I know people Rich Stone had went, but Spirit made me go, right? And so when I went there, I was greeted by hundreds, and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of orange and black butterflies. They like guided me to the water. And when I got there, it looked like sand dunes, but then the mothers, it was like all of these buried mothers. Like it was, I know we talk about Jekyll Island and we talk about what they did with the Federal Reserve, but this shit goes back. This goes back way deeper than some little 1930s, 1940s. That's the cover. They did do that. I'm not saying they didn't do it. They did. But that's the cover. That ain't what really messed it up. And the mothers came, and I mean, I cried. It took me a few weeks. I was broke down because I was mounted by like hundreds. I mean, I'm a person who could carry a lot of spirit and energy. And it was like dooms, it's like tombs. And so I had to like as many of the mothers as I could lay and touch and honor them. And so when I got it in the spirit, and the channel was like over about 2.8 million of what we call our years, it was like a war broke out. And so what you're saying about like the women getting along is so important and deep because most women have something where either they've had an issue with a woman or their mother, right? That's the dis-ease. That's the dis-ease.
They call it the
And
mother
that's what has
wound.
to be broken. And so and this has gone on for a while, for a long time. And I'm grateful, like at least with my mom and grandmother, I didn't have that. My daughter that I have, I love my baby. I ain't do my daughter like that. But this right here, where they put the thing, what we talk about, see, what Spirit told me I had to come and expose was the hand behind the hand. Right? So we knew folks saw first, they thought it was white folks. Then we know we heard about the dirty Moors. But even those who was placed in positions and why we hated our people was really hating men. It was these women, these false mothers and false matriarchs who put them in position to hide their dirty work. And so it takes a God to make another God remember that you're not a God. I'm going to repeat that for you one more time. It takes a God to make another God forget that you are a God. So it was somebody very old and very ancient who did not want to come up off their seat and off their throne for their daughters, because we passed it to our daughters that did that. So that's why in this time we have another chance. And number one, we're not dealing with the unrighteous matriarch. Like, I'm gonna let y'all handle the men and the chiefs. That ain't my job. I ain't no man. That's why when my sons they of age, I didn't pass them to the men. Like, Chief Davis, you take them from here. Who I'm dealing with is the women. Because see, they didn't hear too goddamn long. And they thought that they got away with. And you like, just like how the dirty Moors thought they hit, but even my beef, even though I got beef with them, my beef ain't even all the way with them. My beef is with the helpers who put them in position. Put them in position. Because they don't want to get off their seat, and they know that we're supposed to carry these seats for
Okay,
so long, and
so
we're supposed to
let me
pass
tell you,
it to your door.
let me tell you exactly how they did it and where they did it and who they did it with.
Oh, I seen it because they showed it to me. And I'm telling you, I was hurt. I went through the 5 stages of grief. I was angry. I was in shock. No, I was in shock first. Like, what? I was shocked, angry. I went through so many stages. I was like, they did what? Because I just couldn't believe. I was
Okay, so
prepared for this.
let me give you the background.
Mm-hmm.
We trace everything back, all of the corruption of the world. We end up in a central location. Today we call that location Babylon,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it had other names. It was called Babel. It was called
Yes.
the land of the Chaldees. It was called the Sumer at large. But all of the time that was going on, it was still the suburbs to Kemet.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when we trace back, we make a stop in the 18th dynasty in the priest wars,
Yes. Yes.
right? In the 400-year captivity in Babylon of the so-called Jews is where they got the material in the 18th dynasty to fight priest wars in secret. Now here go the part we don't know. All of the priests back then was women. This was a harem conflict.
Yes. 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 Talk on.
In the conflict of the harems, right? The Amun priestesses wanted to silence the Aten priestess. Now, how do we see this play out in modern times?
I heard that they're like a council of the wise elders, what we call the council of the wise elders. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Watch this. When you sitting in church and you see a young, attractive girl walk in, and then you hear some unprovoked old lady say, "Look at her. She thinks she everything. Oh, look, pissy tail slut." The girl didn't even do nothing.
Walked in. I went through it a lot. We all went through it when we was in church. A lot of
Right,
us.
because she's attacking her at her beauty. She's condemning her because of her beauty. Beauty is one of the, that's what made men turn to stone looking at Medusa.
Yeah.
That was metaphoric, not literal. And she whoop their ass as soon as they get froze like that, because they don't think she gonna fuck them up. She gonna give them the business. And she had two sisters with her. They called the three of them together the Gorgons. Right? Medusa is the priestess ranking system of the Sa, the Dula priestesses.
Yeah.
Right? The highest rank you can be is Medu. That means that you've reached the highest attainment. Alpha meets Omega.
And on the Hindu side, they call them the deadly tribe as well.
Yep. And in Greece, they call it the Delphi. And
even still in what they call now China, because actually Spirit led me to it, they actually belong to their own military, like they're their own branch, but they don't go out and fight a war. It's a spiritual side. Like I'm telling you, this stuff is deep. Yeah.
So when you trace back from the 18th dynasty, where the literature that's still in circulation called Talmud and Mishnah, right, and the Sephra and all these other spiritual writings that they brought out of Babylon,
right,
after the 400, there was no Torah yet.
Right.
There wasn't no Torah yet. Wasn't no Bible yet.
Right.
They wasn't walking around, Jews or Hebrews or whatever you want to call them, was not walking around with a Bible, let alone an Old Testament, because the New Testament is older than the Old Testament.
Well, first of all, we are I always tell people, you the 67th book of the Bible. Like, we are the walking word. We stopped channeling and getting our information from within and started depending on a man, and then have to start worshiping the gods, or what you call the gods, which was spiritual helps or ancestors or deities. Like, they just miss us. It's like, what happened to you? Do you know how many various incarnates you had? Like, how old and ancient? Like, if you got I tell people, you got an altar to yourself, you can get yourself a disservice. You literally
genetic similarities causes the Sybil effect. Right now, the Sybil effect is when multiple women, they think they're the same historical creature or personification, because that historical personification is the same DNA signature, and they all activate.
The only Phoenix and the only God and the only whatever, and it's like, girl, you're not the only one. And they over here then lost their mind because they didn't channel and went too fast, too deep, and didn't get all their Akashic records right, and want people to worship them. And ain't nobody finna worship you. Shit.
That ain't even what the guy's supposed to been doing anyway.
Exactly.
The guys ain't here to worship them.
You out of order. You're supposed to be here helping the people. But they let you know again, that's a definition. Yeah, that's an unrighteous goddamn matriarch.
Okay.
But anyway.
Now, so when we get to Babylon,
nothing but talk, and she knows she'll get her ass whooped. But anyway, come on.
Yeah. So when we get to Babylon, we discover something called the Anunnaki Wars.
Come on.
Right. They're not called Anunnaki Wars. They called the conflict of gods. They don't look at it like war. War is a game that humans play.
Yes.
Okay.
Explain why war is a game that humans play, because of the
Brahmin. We'll come back to that. So when we trace the war back, who was the generals that was commanding these wars as gods? And then you find out it was two opposing paradigms being pushed. It was Prince Ea, we know him as Enki, and his brother, who we know as Enlil.
Correct.
Right? Enlil, also known as Yahweh. And when you get to Europe, he becomes Zeus.
That's what Rashad was. People wasn't listening to him. That's what he was trying to tell people.
Yeah. Zeus and Yahweh is the same person. So when you find out Alexander was given the credit for conquering the world when he conquered India, but it wasn't India yet. It was Hindustan, right?
Yes.
So Alexander got something called the Scrolls of Destiny, which tells you how to govern planets of people.
Yes.
Right. And in there, he learned to control economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war.
What they call
using the moon.
Literature. It's a whole thing, but they were actually deities. What they call arrhythmia and all that. Those are actually deities they was worshiping. But they was mothers, actually feminine energy.
So Enlil married a person that came through a portal in a mirror universe to this one. Everything from that universe is upside down and backwards to this one.
The Stranger Things. Think about that show, The Stranger Things. If anybody got kids that watch The Stranger Things, they talk about the upside down. That's what they was talking about. Okay, come on.
Yeah. So when he opened the portal, his wife can't sit on the sacerdotal seat because the appearance of a phallus.
Yes.
Right? And because of the masculine expression, even though it had two X chromosomes, which gave it mitochondrial rights, it had something that resembled a male genitalia, which prohibited from sitting on Big Mama's seat. In other words, Big Mama said, that bitch can't sit on my seat, her ass nasty. So the measure that they used to control us was put the bitch from the Mirrorverse in charge as the Divine Mother. And every chance you get, you have to disgrace Kali Ma. You have to disgrace Inanna. You have to disgrace the priestess of the Delphi. You have to disgrace the divine Isis. You have to disgrace all of the feminine orders. So with that, the ruling order is the one from the Mirrorverse. That's why Holly Weird is upside backwards. Half the people we think men is women, and half people we think women is men. And they each other. And the term they use is, she my lipstick and he my mustache. They don't recognize gender because they come from a alternate reality of this. If you ever watch the show Sliders, that'll tell you how they got here. But they can control it better than the characters in Sliders. They can dial it up like your address on GPS and open it up and you can walk right through. That's how you can get from Arizona to the Egyptian pyramids in Cairo. The same way you can get to the Himalayas, the same way you can get to Australia, New Zealand. It's several of them up the Amazon, along the Amazon River. Most of them are covered up with trees down there now.
Marak. If you don't like what the fuck you hear, then you can get out. Because I don't know who you think you talking to, who you think you working with. I don't know what women you think you used to working with. But baby, I'm a bona fide assassin, and I will get you in your sleep, and you will not wake up. You better go ask your friends about me, because you ain't.
I advise you to find something safe to do, because you better go find something safe
to do. And I'm not playing. Okay, now go on. Because I'm not your mama, your girlfriend, or your cousin, or your auntie. And I give a full closure. And if you don't like it, you may want to roll out if you want to live. Because I will eviscerate your whole family. You won't have no bloodline. You'll never be on this planet ever again.
These people was called archons.
Little weak ass nigga.
The archons have a replica under the Vatican of the Upper Vatican with the seat that the lizard bitch sitting in. I call her the lizard bitch, just like I call Queen the lizard bitch. Because she looked like a lizard. I mean, she don't look like us.
Not from this planet. She was not from this planet. She's not from this planet.
Right. Yeah. So just like in Doctor Strange, you walk through into the Mirrorverse, you can trap the magic inside the Mirrorverse. Right. So his wife was given 6,000 years to rule. That's what they say. The devil had 6,000 years to rule. But they didn't tell you where the devil was at. They didn't tell you the devil was living under the sacerdotal seat on cross-dresser seat because she can't sit
That's it.
on Big Mama's seat. So symbolically, they put the Pope's seat under Big Mama's seat, and the lizard bitch is giving the Pope the instruction. All three of them, the black one, the white one, and the gray one. And this is why they called the rulers of the society archons.
Yeah, they took his show because he called her the Lizard Bitch in 2020. That's my little nephew. Nephew, they took that shadow from you. Now, you know much look, but listen, it's funny you said that they did it 2020 because another little alien, matter of fact, the little aliens who be running Facebook and Instagram just said they made me do this and it was because of the government and I gotta stop doing it. But see, I'm gonna tell you what's going on. This is why they having to tell the truth. Again, I'm gonna do reality with astrology because it's all to me one. They're in their Pluto return, right? And so Pluto is the planet of rebirth, right? It rules Scorpio. Everybody know about Scorpio. It's two sides. You got the light and the dark, right? And it's the sign of the Phoenix. Scorpio actually before it moved to Scorpio was the Phoenix. Just FYI, in case folks didn't know that. But anyway, what they was doing is they were at the end of their Saturn and finna move it to their Pluto return, which hence, do you not know that during the Pluto return we had the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution? This is the season of revolutions, right? So this is why these people are quite nervous because it's not going to be a season where everybody's going to be sitting like, okay, they don't want us to do it. That's why, like, towards the end, whether you think it was real or not, that whole thing was Luigi and the whole United Healthcare stuff. This is the time where people are going to rise up and separate themselves or want their freedom or want stuff away. And also the way that America, the United States in particular, is not for everybody, but America founded their country during the Pluto Aquarius, which you call your Pluto return. It's going to be a lot of internal divisions, like not only politically, but everything else. So
listen,
that's what they
said that because today Trump was ordered.
Anyway, and it was just the worst thing that could happen. People over here crying on social media.
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna call it the worst thing that could have happened.
It was one of the worst for me.
It was the worst thing that could have happened that the civil rights movement was successful. Because it had to be successful for one thing. We had, if nothing else don't come out of it, we had to figure out how to kill racism. How you kill racism? Eliminate racism.
That's it.
And what's the name of America? The Great Melting Pot, right?